Hi everyone and welcome to Carol Nash Inside Bikes. Today we are in the sunny south of France and we have been on the international press launch of this, which is the 800 MK from CFMoto. The middleweight naked sector, especially in the UK, is a massive competitive sector. You've got the likes of the new Honda CB750 Hornet, you've got the Suzuki GSX-8S, KTM 790 Duke. The list seems to go on, and they offer a really good package for in today's money, not all that much cash. Now there are two models in the 800 MK range. There's this, which is the standard, and then there's the advanced model as well. They're very similar, but the advanced model just has a few more bells and whistles, like an up-down quick shifter, steering damper, big 8-inch TFT screen, Bluetooth connectivity with a smartphone app as well. So there's a few more bells and whistles on the advanced, but the essence of the bike is pretty much the same. And at the heart of that is the 799cc twin engine, which is taken from the KTM 790 Duke, as well as the frame. So it's got a really solid heart to build the rest of the bike on. The only difference between the KTM frame and this frame is a swing arm and a subframe, but the rest of it is the same. So on top of the 799cc engine that pumps out 95 horsepower and 79 Nm of torque, which actually is about equivalent to the Honda Hornet, but above the likes of the Suzuki GSX-8S, above the really popular MT-07, and on top of that it's got a load of premium parts on it as well, so they haven't cut corners when building the 800 MK. So 43mm KYB fully adjustable suspension and fully adjustable at the shock as well. Gauge 1 brakes, which are actually owned by Brembo, so again really premium sort of stopping power. And then when you talk about technology, they haven't scrimped there either. It's got 3 riding modes, rain, street and sport, which just adapt the power for different riding conditions. We had a test in all 3 today. The rain and street are quite docile, and which is what you want around town, and obviously in the wet weather and different conditions. The throttle response is a lot softer and a lot easier. Then you put it in the full fat sport mode and it's a really raucous ride. It's really responsive, and the noise that comes out of standard NCAN, I was really surprised at. It's Euro 5 compliant, so meets all the regulations, but actually the noise that comes from this thing, it just goads you into going faster, it goads you into having fun, and that's the essence of this bike, is to have fun. And you can feel that KTM DNA in there. The whole experience is quite involving, especially when you're in that sport mode. We were up in the hills today on some twisty fast roads, and that was really enjoyable, and this bike was perfect for those surroundings. Probably better suited actually than around town. I don't know if many people will buy one of these just to commute back and forward around town. Talking of premium quality, both models have TFT dashes. The standard one here has got a 5-inch TFT display, really nice full color display, Bluetooth connectivity again, but then on the advanced model, as I mentioned, 8-inch TFT display, which is bigger than any of the competitors in the sector. And you've even got Apple CarPlay on the advanced model as well, so you can connect to your phone. You've got maps, you've got your music, all that kind of stuff. But on the standard model, like I say, you've still got that 5-inch TFT display, which works perfectly, displays everything you need to see, easy to navigate, intuitive. And talking about sort of navigation and that kind of stuff, the switch gear, again, I was really impressed with. Sometimes on bikes, switch gear, especially modern bikes that have got a lot of buttons because they've got technology and bits and pieces you need to sift through different modes, can be a little bit cumbersome, especially when you've got thick gloves on and you're trying to play around and navigate through the menus. Whereas this, the buttons are nice and big, they've got sort of a rubbery feel, and they're really tactile. You can feel what you're doing, and you can sort of feel what button you need to be pressing. And that's backlit as well, so obviously if you're riding in the dark, again, it's just a little bit of an extra touch. Talking about that kind of the thoughtful nature, I think, of this bike in terms of thinking about the user and the rider, and how things can be intuitive and helpful. Just simple things like the way the cables are routed, really nicely done. They haven't just sort of chucked it in there and it looks all messy. It's neatly done, but the way the screen sort of hides the cables and the way that sort of set up, I think, is really nice. It's kudos to CFMoto for putting that much attention to detail on the new NK. As I mentioned, there's quite a lot of equipment, just a standard on the CFMoto 800 NK. There's the 3 rider modes, like I've mentioned, but also your ABS is standard, cruise control is standard, which is lovely. But then, weirdly enough, there's no traction control. Not entirely sure why that is. We spoke to the guys at CFMoto. They're pushing for it from the UK side. They're pushing to make that happen for the next model update. I don't think it's a deal breaker if you're looking to buy one of these, but it's just worth noting it hasn't got traction control. And then when the advanced model goes a little bit further than that, it's got an up-down quick shifter, it's got a steering damper. You can connect the CFMoto app to the advanced model, and it's keyless ignition as well, so you can unlock and lock the bike. It also tracks your rides as well, which is a really nice touch. And actually using the app again, talking about how intuitive the bike is, the app is no different. It's easy to navigate. The way that your sort of information is displayed, the way you can function the bike through unlocking it and all that kind of stuff is really easy. You didn't need any sort of user manual and that kind of of stuff, that was really easy to use. So that's a really nice touch on the advanced model. So I've been singing this bike's praises, and rightly so. It's a solid machine, but there's a few sort of foibles with it that I'd like to see changed. So the fueling from like 3,500 revs and below, especially in street and sport mode, we're doing some slower speed stuff around town, and it was quite jerky, and that wasn't a very nice feeling. So talking to the CFMoto guys, they are aware of that problem and they're trying to dial that out. So hopefully they'll be able to update that either when the models launch, which is the standard in July, and the advanced potentially in Q4, but they're not 100% certain on that. Also, the bike comes on Maxxis tyres, which I think for this bike there's better tyres out there that would provide better grip and better feeling. Not that we had massive issues with them, but it'd be nice if the OE tyres were maybe a little bit a better spec. So I mentioned some of the competition earlier with the likes of the Honda Hornet, Yamaha MT-07, which is hugely popular in the UK, the new Suzuki GSX-8S. How does it compare? I mean, we've ridden this bike in isolation today. We haven't done any back-to-back tests, and I think that'd be a good test to do to actually get a real feeling for how all of them perform in a back-to-back scenario. But you look at the price of the standard 800NK, and it's 6,999 in the UK, which is the same as the Honda Hornet. But the performance of it was super fun to ride. It was nimble. It's got a host of tech on it. As I mentioned, the premium finish to it. You could turn up at any bike meet, any local bike meet that you go to, and not be embarrassed at all to turn up on this. So I think when you do a back-to-back test on this, I think it'd perform really well. And for that price, I think it's a lot of bike for the money and really good value for money. I think the biggest area where they'll struggle is the brand awareness and the dealer network. If you've got a Honda dealership at the end of your road or a CFMoto dealership 100 miles away, then that might just make up your mind if you've got £7,000 to spend on a bike. But talking to the CFMoto guys, they have 15 dealers in the UK currently, and they're trying to get to 35 by the end of this year and continue to grow that in 2024. So the plans are there and the desire is there from CFMoto to really build a solid network in the UK. I think that's going to only be a good thing for UK motorcycling and bringing bikes like this into the market. So to sum up, I think the CFMoto 800NK offers really good value for money. £1 under £7,000. What they've managed to cram into this bike in terms of its specs and its technology and all that kind of stuff, it's a solid bike. And if you've got £7,000 to spend and you're looking at something like this, definitely go and demo ride one when it lands in July. Thanks for CFMoto for having us. Fantastic day. And if you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.